The Cleveland Browns locker room is about to explode, and Kevin Stefanski just lit the fuse. In a press conference that has every NFL fan on the edge of their seat, the two-time Coach of the Year dropped a bombshell about Shedeur Sanders that nobody saw coming. Was it praise? Was it shade? Was it a warning? The answer is yes to all three, and what happens next could either make or break this rookie's career before it even gets started. Picture this. You're Shedeur Sanders. You've dominated college football. You've got the pedigree, the talent, the swagger. You get drafted by the Cleveland Browns, and suddenly you're thrust into the chaos of an NFL season where your starting quarterback just entered concussion protocol, and you're the only healthy body left standing. No pressure, right? Wrong? Because now Kevin Stefanski is standing at a podium telling the entire world that you're starting this weekend against the Las Vegas Raiders. And the way he's saying it has everyone wondering if you're actually ready or if the Browns are just desperately hoping you don't completely implode on national television. Let's rewind for a second because this story is juicier than your aunt's Thanksgiving gossip. Stefanski, the master of calm sideline demeanor and perfectly timed motivational speeches, held a press conference that was supposed to be routine. You know the drill. Injury updates, game plan basics, the usual coach speak that puts half the press corps to sleep. But then he started talking about Shedeur Sanders, and suddenly everyone in that room woke up real fast. He confirmed what we all knew was coming. Shedeur is starting this weekend. Dorian Thompson-Robinson is still in concussion protocol, improving but not cleared. That means the rookie gets the keys to the offense, ready or not. Now here's where it gets interesting. Stefanski didn't just say Shedeur is starting because he's the only option. No, that would be too honest, too straightforward, too uncoach-like. Instead, he launches into this carefully worded speech about growth and development and mental reps and all these buzzwords that sound impressive but also kind of feel like he's trying to convince himself as much as he's trying to convince us. He talks about how Shedeur has shown significant growth in understanding the X's and O's, how he's been grinding in individual periods, how he's learning to trust his offensive line and read defenses. All true, all positive, all encouraging, but then you read between the lines and you realize what he's really saying. This kid is learning on the job, and we're all about to find out together whether he sinks or swims. The internet absolutely lost its mind. Twitter exploded. Reddit went into overdrive. Sports talk shows had emergency segments because everyone heard the same thing in Stefanski's words. He's talented, but he's raw. He's working hard, but he's not there yet. He's getting every rep because, well, who else is going to take them? It's like watching your parents hand you the car keys for the first time and saying, "You've been doing great in the driveway. Now go ahead and merge onto the highway during rush hour. You got this." Technically supportive, but also low-key terrifying. Let's talk about this significant growth phrase for a minute because Stefanski kept coming back to it like it was his safety blanket. He talked about how he's been around Shedeur for months now, and he's seen the progress firsthand. The kid is learning the system, understanding defensive schemes, improving his timing with receivers, getting comfortable with the cadence and the pre-snap reads. Every rep counts, Stefanski says. Extra work in individual periods. Film study. Mental reps when he's not physically taking snaps. Basically, Shedeur's brain is being turned into a football supercomputer, processing information faster than your Wi-Fi on a good day. And that's great. That's what you want to hear about your quarterback. But it's also code for he wasn't ready before, but we're hoping he's ready now because we literally have no other choice. And here's the kicker. Stefanski made it very clear that the entire offense is being tailored to what Shedeur does well. They're building the game plan around his strengths, around the concepts he feels most confident in, around the plays that meet his eyes, as Stefanski so poetically put it. Translation? They're simplifying things. They're not asking him to run the full playbook. They're giving him the greatest hits version, the stuff he can execute without his brain short-circuiting under pressure. And look, that's smart coaching. You don't throw a rookie into the deep end and expect him to immediately start doing backflips. But it also confirms what everyone suspected. Shedeur is talented, but he's not ready to run a full NFL offense yet. He's getting the training wheels version, and the Browns are hoping those wheels don't fall off mid-game. Now let's talk about the elephant in the room. The backup quarterback situation in Cleveland has been an absolute circus this season, and Shedeur is right in the middle of it. For weeks, people have been questioning why he wasn't getting first-team reps. Why wasn't he more prepared? Why did he look so lost when he had to come in during garbage time? And the answer, according to Stefanski, is basically that backup quarterbacks don't get the royal treatment in NFL buildings. They're there, they're part of the team, they have a job, but they're not getting the same reps, the same attention, the same coaching that the starter gets, which is fine when your backup is a veteran who's been in the league for 10 years and knows the drill. But when your backup is a rookie who might actually have to play at some point, that's where things get dicey. And now here we are. Shedeur is no longer the backup. He's QB1, at least for this week, and suddenly he's getting all the first-team reps, all the attention, all the coaching, all the pressure. Stefanski made sure to emphasize that this is a full week of preparation. Shedeur is working with the starting offensive line, the starting receivers, everyone. They're watching film together. They're going over the game plan in detail. They're building chemistry and timing. All the things he should have been doing weeks ago if the Browns had any sense that Thompson Robinson's concussion history might become an issue. But hey, better late than never, right? Here's where it gets even more fascinating. Shedeur himself addressed the media, and the kid is nothing if not confident. Standing at the podium like a seasoned veteran, he talked about expectations and pressure and how he'd be doing a disservice to himself and the organization if he didn't believe he was the guy. That's the kind of swagger you want from your starting quarterback. That's the mentality that wins games. But it's also the kind of statement that can age like milk if things go sideways. Because the truth is, Shedeur is about to face the ultimate test. Not just of his talent, but of his preparation, his composure, his ability to handle the speed and complexity of the NFL game. And everyone is watching. The stats don't help either. Did you know that Cleveland Browns quarterbacks are 0-17 in their first career starts since the team rejoined the NFL in 1999? 0-17. That's 27 years of futility, 27 years of rookie quarterbacks getting thrown to the wolves and coming out with nothing but scars and bad memories. From Tim Couch to Colt McCoy to Brandon Weeden to Johnny Manziel to whoever else you want to name, none of them won their first start in Cleveland. Not a single one. That's the kind of franchise curse that makes you wonder if the football gods just have it out for the Browns. And now Shedeur Sanders is walking into that history, trying to be the first to break the streak. No pressure, though. Stefanski, to his credit, is trying to set Shedeur up for success. He's talking about trust and chemistry and execution. He's emphasizing that the entire team needs to step up, not just the quarterback. The offensive line needs to protect. The receivers need to run crisp routes. The running game needs to establish itself. Everyone has a role to play, and that's true. That's how football works. But let's be real. If Shedeur struggles, if he throws 3 interceptions, if he gets sacked 5 times and looks completely overwhelmed, nobody is going to remember that the offensive line had a bad day or the receivers dropped some passes. They're going to remember that the rookie quarterback couldn't get it done. That's just the reality of playing the most important position in sports. And speaking of the offensive line, let's talk about pocket trust for a second, because Stefanski kept bringing it up. He talked about how Shedeur needs to trust that his linemen are going to protect him, that he doesn't need to bail out of the pocket early, that he can stand tall and deliver the ball even when there's pressure coming. That's all well and good in theory. But in practice, that's asking a rookie quarterback who's been in the NFL for all of 5 minutes to have the kind of confidence and composure that usually takes years to develop. You're telling this kid to stand in the pocket while 300-pound linebackers are charging at him like angry bulls, trust that 5 guys he barely knows are going to keep him upright, and calmly deliver a perfectly timed pass to a receiver running a route he memorized from film study 2 days ago. Easy, right? The mental side of the game is what really separates good quarterbacks from great ones, and Stefanski knows this. That's why he kept emphasizing the mental reps, the film study, the understanding of defensive schemes. Because physical talent can only take you so far. You can have the strongest arm in the world, but if you don't know where to throw the ball or when to throw it, you're useless. Shedeur has been living in the film room, studying opponent tendencies, learning how defenses disguise coverages, understanding leverage and angles and all the microscopic details that go into playing quarterback at the highest level. His brain is working overtime, processing information like a supercomputer running 1,000 calculations per second. And that's great. That's exactly what you want. But there's a huge difference between knowing something in theory and executing it in real time when there's chaos all around you and you have 2 seconds to make a decision that could determine the outcome of the game. Let's also talk about the receivers because timing is everything in the NFL. Stefanski mentioned how important it is for Shedeur to develop chemistry with his pass catchers, to understand their tendencies, to know exactly when they're going to break out of their routes. That's something that takes time to build, reps and reps and more reps. And Shedeur is getting those reps now, but he's also trying to cram weeks' worth of work into a few days. It's like studying for a final exam the night before and hoping you remember enough to pass. Sometimes you get lucky, sometimes you don't, and in the NFL, luck only gets you so far. The pressure on Shedeur is immense, and not just because he's starting his first NFL game. It's because of who he is, who his father is, the expectations that come with the Sanders name. Deion Sanders built a legacy as one of the greatest athletes in history, and now his son is trying to carve out his own path while living in that shadow. Every throw, every decision, every moment is going to be compared to what people think Shedeur should be doing. And that's not fair, but that's the reality. The Sanders name opens doors, but it also puts a target on your back. People are watching, waiting, hoping you succeed, but also kind of hoping you fail, just so they have something to talk about. That's the price of fame in the social media age. And let's not forget about the fans. Browns fans have been through hell and back. They've endured losing seasons, bad drafts, terrible quarterback play, heartbreaking losses, and more disappointment than any fan base should have to suffer. They're desperate for hope, desperate for a reason to believe that things might actually turn around. And now here comes Shedeur Sanders, a talented rookie with a famous last name, and they're thinking maybe, just maybe, this could be the guy. But they've been burned before, so many times. They've seen promising young quarterbacks come in with all the hype and all the potential, only to crash and burn spectacularly. So while they want to be excited, while they want to believe, there's also that nagging voice in the back of their head saying, don't get your hopes up, it's just going to end in disappointment, like it always does. Stefanski is walking a tightrope here. He needs to support his quarterback, build his confidence, create an environment where Shedeur feels comfortable taking risks and making plays. But he also needs to be realistic. He can't oversell this kid as the savior of the franchise when he's literally never started an NFL game before. So he uses all these carefully chosen words. Growth, development, progress, improvement. Words that sound positive but also leave room for mistakes, for growing pains, for the inevitable struggles that come with being a rookie quarterback in the NFL. It's a delicate balance, and Stefanski is doing his best to manage expectations while also hyping up his player. It's like being a parent who tells their kid they did a great job on their art project, even though it looks like a tornado hit a craft store. Supportive, but also not delusional. The other fascinating element here is the game plan. Stefanski mentioned that they're putting together a plan of attack that gives all the players a chance to execute and play fast. Translation? They're keeping it simple. They're not going to ask Shedeur to do too much. They're going to lean on the running game, use play action to create easy throws, design rollouts and screens and quick-hitting passes that get the ball out of his hands before the defense can get to him. It's a smart strategy. It's how you protect a young quarterback and give him confidence. But it's also an admission that they don't fully trust him to run the full offense yet. And that's okay. Rome wasn't built in a day. But it does raise the question, if they're simplifying the offense to accommodate Shedeur, what happens when they face a defense that shuts down the run and forces him to beat them with his arm? What happens when the game plan goes out the window and he has to improvise? That's where we'll really find out what this kid is made of. Now let's talk about the opposition. The Las Vegas Raiders. Not exactly the 1985 Bears, but also not a team you can just roll over. They've got playmakers on defense, guys who can create pressure, force turnovers, make life difficult for a rookie quarterback. Stefanski mentioned that they need to go to school on this football team, study their schemes, understand what they're trying to do on any given down. That's standard preparation, but it also highlights how much is being thrown at Shedeur right now. He's not just learning his own offense, he's also studying the opponent, trying to anticipate what they're going to throw at him, preparing for different looks and disguises and blitz packages. It's like trying to learn two languages at the same time while also juggling flaming chainsaws. Possible? Sure. Easy? Absolutely not. The internet, as always, has opinions. Lots of opinions. Some people think Shedeur is going to come out and ball, that he's got the talent and the pedigree to succeed right away. Others think he's being set up to fail, that the Browns are throwing him to the wolves without proper preparation and he's going to get eaten alive. And then there are the conspiracy theorists who think Stefanski has been intentionally holding Shedeur back, that there's some kind of power struggle or personality conflict behind the scenes. Is there any truth to that? Probably not. But it makes for great social media content, and in the age of hot takes and clickbait headlines, that's all that really matters. What makes this whole situation even more dramatic is the context. The Browns are fighting for playoff positioning. Every game matters. They can't afford to just throw away a game because their rookie quarterback is learning on the job. But they also can't turn to anyone else because Thompson Robinson is hurt and there's nobody else on the roster, so they're stuck. They have to start Shedeur and hope he's good enough to give them a chance to win. It's a high-wire act with no safety net, and everyone is watching to see if he can pull it off. Stefanski's comments also reveal something about the Browns organization as a whole. They clearly didn't have a solid backup plan at quarterback, and now they're paying the price. You can't go into a season with a concussion-prone starter and a completely unprepared rookie as your only backup options. That's organizational malpractice. But here we are, and now Stefanski is doing damage control, trying to spin it as an opportunity for growth and development when really it's just poor planning coming home to roost. And Shedeur is the one who has to deal with the consequences. But here's the thing. Despite all the chaos, despite all the pressure, despite all the questions and doubts and uncertainties, Shedeur has a chance to make history. He has a chance to be the first Browns quarterback in 27 years to win their first career start. He has a chance to silence the doubters, prove the believers right, and announce himself as a legitimate NFL quarterback. That's a hell of an opportunity. And if he pulls it off, if he goes out there and plays well, makes smart decisions, leads the offense down the field, and helps the Browns get a win, the narrative flips completely. Suddenly, he's not the unprepared rookie. He's the confident young star. He's not the kid who got thrown into the fire. He's the guy who rose to the occasion. That's the beauty and the cruelty of football. One game can change everything. Stefanski wrapped up his press conference by emphasizing execution and playing fast. That's coach speak for don't overthink it, just go out there and play. And that's probably the best advice he can give Shedeur right now. Don't get caught up in all the noise, all the expectations, all the history. Just play football the way you've always played it. Trust your instincts, trust your preparation, trust your teammates, and whatever happens, happens. Because at the end of the day, Shedeur Sanders is about to get the ultimate trial by fire. He's going to find out very quickly whether he belongs in the NFL or whether he needs more time to develop. And we're all going to find out right along with him. So buckle up, football fans. This weekend is going to be must-watch television. Shedeur Sanders makes his first NFL start, carrying the weight of a franchise, a fan base, and a famous last name on his shoulders. Kevin Stefanski watches from the sideline, hoping his carefully crafted game plan holds together and his rookie quarterback doesn't completely fall apart. The Browns faithful hold their breath, daring to hope while preparing for the worst, and the rest of the NFL world tunes in to see if this kid has what it takes or if he's just another name on the long list of Browns quarterback failures. Will Shedeur Sanders be the hero Cleveland has been waiting for? Will he break the curse and finally give Browns fans a reason to celebrate? Or will he crumble under the pressure, proving once again that the Browns just can't catch a break at the most important position in football? Only time will tell. But one thing is certain. Come Sunday, when Shedeur steps onto that field and takes his first snap as an NFL starting quarterback, the entire football world will be watching. And whatever happens, it's going to be one hell of a story. Make sure you hit that like button if you're excited to see Shedeur Sanders play this weekend. Drop a comment below with your prediction for the game. Do you think he's going to ball out, or do you think he's going to struggle? And don't forget to subscribe and turn on notifications so you don't miss any of the action and analysis after the game. This is history in the making, and you don't want to miss a single second of it.